Hi, and welcome to ZoeCast, Episode 2. My name is Crystal Sarlacc, and I am the author of Zoe Thanatos, available in ebook and paperback format on Amazon.com. If you are not sure what you're doing here and you have not listened to Episode 1 of ZoeCast, let me tell you what this is all about. ZoeCast, or the Zoe Podcast, is where I, on a hopefully weekly basis, discuss with you some aspect of my novel, Zoe Thanatos. Every week I cover something different, and hopefully you've already read the book and you can kind of follow along with what I'm going to tell you. If you haven't read the book yet, but you're interested, you can go to Amazon, search for Zoe Thanatos, or click the link below in the down bar and check it out. Maybe you'll like it. If you've already read the book and this is your second time tuning in to ZoeCast, welcome back and thanks. I'm glad to have you here. Previously on ZoeCast, it was the introductory grand opening podcast where I just kind of gave a general overview of what Zoe's about the podcast, and just kind of like general boring information about me. And just, I'm going to put it out there now. These podcasts will have spoilers in them. I thought about, gosh, maybe I shouldn't include spoilers or in-depth conversation about storyline. I don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't read the book, but presumably if you're here listening to this, you've read the book already. So, I'm not really going to spoil anything for you. So, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there that when you listen to these, you're going to hear things about the book and about the big reveals in them, because I'm sure if you've already read the book, that's kind of what you want to hear about and get the inside scoop on what's coming next and everything like that. So, now that that's out of the way, just kind of wanted to explain where I've been. It's been a few weeks since I published ZoeCast Episode 1, and when it was time to record Episode 2, I was packing and trying to get ready for going out of town on a trip to Florida to visit my grandparents. And, as much as I tried to film this episode, I couldn't get to it. And then right before we left, our internet router broke and we were without internet, and it was painful. And on a weekend, and AT&T Uverse was not reliable at the time. So, we went to Florida, and I didn't get my episodes up to publish, and it was kind of bothering me, but what could I do? And came back, got our internet fixed, all set up again, and then I got sick. I'm not just coughing for emphasis or effect. I have been dreadfully, awfully sick all week since I got back from Florida. Finally feeling better. And yeah, I feel so invigorated today. I had to sit down and record. So here we are, Episode 2. So that's where I've been. And though this is Episode 2, this is going to be the first in a 5-part character series about almost each of every character that appears in Zoe Thanatos. So I'm gonna cover Zoe. I'm gonna cover Evan. I'm gonna cover Eva, Owen, Kyra, Thanatos, and the Queen Mother. Some of those people I'll include 2 in one episode, like I'll likely do Evadine and Owen together because they're kind of smaller characters, and I'll probably do Thanatos and the Queen Mother together, Kyra Straton, because they're a ball of drama all on their own. Major characters I'll include in their own special snowflake episodes. And today, I could have started this series off with talking about the most obvious character of all, Zoe, but I decided to go a different route and talk to you instead about Kyra Straton, also known as the Queen. Yes, I was going to say the Queen Mother, but the Queen of Terra. Oh, what a character. And I say that even knowing obviously I've written her and made her up and understand her, I'm still kind of like, oh, this is such a great character. I love her, and I love how she exists in my mind. So, I'm going to start you off with a little poll, and I want you to think about your answer as we go along. And hopefully you'll get a chance to vote on your answer, leave me a comment telling me what you think. So the question is the Queen, Kyra Straton, good, bad, or gray? And I have this quiz question, or this poll up on my website, ZoeThanatosNovel.com. So is the Queen good, bad, or gray? Your options are 1, she's somewhere in the middle, could go either way. 2, she's inherently good, we just can't see it yet. Or 3, she's bad through and through. And votes are unanimously in the she's somewhere in the middle, could go either way category. And I have to agree with that. I think she really could go either way. And I think she's both good and bad, to be quite honest with you. When I first started writing her, I wanted someone to be kind of an adversary to the main character, because for every protagonist you need an antagonist. And I just started to kind of fall in love with her because I realized she's one of the most difficult and complex characters in the novel. She isn't necessarily one way or the other. She's not inherently good or inherently bad, despite her actions and the feelings that we have insight to as we read throughout the story. And I think probably your opinion of her may be potentially clouded by her relationship with a certain someone, and I'll get to that in a second. So Kyra Straton, as we come to know her, she is the Queen of Terra. And how it works in Terra is it is run by a monarchy, and that monarchy is led by a woman. Even if there is a king, and, let's say one reigning queen and king have a child, and their firstborn child is a son, that son will never be the ruler of Terra. Their daughter will be. And that was a very deliberate kind of device that I included in the novel because it's something a little different and not really something you see. We are, of course, used to monarchies where the queen is, like the bee's knees and in charge, but, in our own history, it's always been that the king is the one in charge. But I don't really like that. I think it's a more interesting story when it's the queen calling the shots and having more power than a king and having more power than anyone else. So that was very fascinating to me, and that's why I wrote it in that way. So she leads this queendom of Terra. And of course, Zoe finds out that she is the direct descendant of the last Thanatos queen of Terra. The Thanatos queens have always been the queens of Terra. There's never been another until Kyra Straton came along. Karina. A Thanatos woman has been the queen of Terra. And Theo Thanatos is the last one. And, we soon come to find out that her daughter, Zoe Thanatos, was meant to succeed her. That did not happen. So we know that Zoe is the rightful heir. But she's not. She's not the heir. And Kyra Straton kind of groomed her daughter, Kyra, to become the queen, and now she is. So I'm having that sensation, like I don't want to give away spoilers, but I know it's so important to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about Kyra's relationship with 3 very important people, the most important people in her life. Starting with, of those 3, the least important, her husband Owen. Owen Straton is, when we first see him, he's kind of like he's the king. He's kind of like a playboy type character, fun, interesting, best friends with Evan, except not really. We come to find out he knows a lot more than anyone would suspect him to know. And his relationship with his wife, the Queen, is not fantastic. She cheats on him a lot with Evander Nero all the time, and does not even love her husband. And we come to find out through flashbacks later on in the story that she never wanted to be with Owen. I mean, he was not. She loved Evan from pretty much the start. And when her mother made the public decree that Kyra would marry Owen, it was not what she wanted. And I think that really helped form the relationship she eventually has with the Queen Mother as we know her, in the story, Corinna. It's really kind of this strained relationship, and I think it's a result of not letting her have that choice in who she wanted to marry and making this decision for her. And the interesting thing to me is, even though there's this really kind of untraditional modern idea of the queen, of a queendom and having the queen be in charge, there's still a little bit of this archaic aspect to it that she has her future king chosen for her. She's a very independent person, and she knows exactly what she wants, even if she's not always deserving of it or the nicest person about it. And so I think that's an interesting dynamic to play. So she cheats on Owen all the time, and by the time her mother, the Queen Mother, comes to visit her, she's reliving these memories of her childhood, and there's a bit of a tense relationship there. And I thought about exploring it more and really trying to dive into it, but it just felt like going too far into it would distract from the main storyline, and there is always going to be time to evolve that later on. And even at the end of the book, we come to realize that Kyra Straton, the Queen Mother, is not actually Kyra's mother, because Kyra Straton is actually Zara Thanatos. So, yeah, the Queen and Zoe, who was supposed to be the Queen, are sisters. Kyra/Zara is older, which begs the question, if daughters are the queens, become queens, why is it not in order in age? Which is very interesting, and think about that when you go into the second book, because it's going to be talked about, and it's going to be fleshed out a bit more. So we know that the Queen has this relationship with Evan, a very sexual relationship. She, as far as we know and think, is in love with him. I mean, she doesn't even love her husband. But she comes to Evan, she kind of seduces him, and he more or less kind of just goes along with it. But I think there's something more there to it. Excuse me. Her relationship with Evan it's something that I'm really fascinated by, and it really evolves into something quite interesting in the second book, which I'm writing now. But in the first book, when Zoe asks Evan, is there someone waiting for you back home? He never really answers, and we come to find out later, the answer actually is yes. I think he does not outwardly or inwardly, I guess, reciprocate. Well, no, he inwardly reciprocates feelings towards the Queen. They're definitely there. And that's a matter of discussion for when I do his character-focused episode. Where was I going with this? Gosh, the problem with being sick is that my head is fuzzy and I'm more likely to go off topic. Darn it. Their relationship, I guess I'll just backtrack. Their relationship is very interesting to me, the dynamic between it and this power she seems to have over him, even though I think really he's the one with power over her. That's maybe something to think about for the next book. Let's just talk about the fact that, this big reveal that Kyra is Zara, that this memory she has, I forget who has it first, her or Zoe. Yeah, I forget who has it first, but Zara is the older sister, Zoe's the younger sister. When the Straton Queen started taking over the crown from the Thanatos Queen, she sent their brother Zarek away, and we find out she kept Zara, raised her basically as her own daughter, even though she had a daughter, but her daughter died. No one really knew about it, and she essentially replaced her real daughter, Kyra, with Zara, which is really bizarre. I mean, who does that? Except someone who is, obviously she took the throne from these people, so she's obviously very not right in the head. You know what I just realized? This is so funny. I just realized that as I'm recording this, the program I'm recording it in is putting it on the male voice track. Apparently, it thinks I'm a man. I am not a man. Anyway, so the big reveal at the end of the story is that, holy crap, Zoe and Zara / Kyra are sisters, and now the relationship with Evan reaches like this crazy, like, real shit has gotten real triangle, because he is unknowingly involved with two sisters. Well, he finds it out eventually, and it is a focus, very much so, early on in book 2, and I think is going to play out in a very interesting way. The Queen has feelings for Evan. We know that he has some semblance of feelings for her back, because, and it's more than just physical response to her. He responds to her emotionally too, because he'll make comments where he says, she's like this with me in private when he doesn't show the side of herself to the public. And it develops this thread of intimacy that they have together, and knowledge about each other. Maybe he's as in love with her as she is with him. Do you think? I don't know. But finding out she's really Zara, Zoe's sister, I think really amps up the story at the end. And of course, it's the cliffhanger. And, if I were a reader, I'd be like, holy shit, what's going to happen next? How does this work out? And actually, I kind of feel that way because while I write the story, I don't actually, I know what's going to happen, but I kind of feel like it's as much a surprise to me as it will be to you, because of how my brain works and how strange I am. Yeah. So, going back to the poll question, is the Queen good, bad, or gray? Well, there's some question about how much she knew about her own childhood. Was she aware that she was not really Kyra Straton? That she was really Zara Thanatos? And I hesitate to say this, because I think this is really kind of a, blinking, bold, neon-colored spoiler alert. Does she know all along what's been going on? Because if she's a Thanatos and Thanatos women become queens and Zoe disappears, doesn't that make her the default Thanatos queen? even if she's been raised as a Straton and, you know, supersedes her fake mother, Karina Straton, into the throne, aren't things kind of balanced back to now how they're supposed to be? Because Zoe was gone, and Zara would have naturally taken her place, most likely. That's where the ages of or the determination of which female in the Thanatos family gets to come into the throne comes to question or comes into play. And I just can't help but wonder, how much she's known all along. And if she's known everything and she's played along with it, I mean, that's pretty darn calculating and manipulative and brilliant, really. And I don't know how her story is going to end up. She's a puzzle to me. And I know that sounds kind of, I don't know, narcissistic coming from the author. But I'm telling you, I'm as infatuated with her as I hope you are too, because she's so complex. And I feel like she's a puzzle in my head that I need to figure out. Oh, what else about Kyra/Zara? We don't meet her until after the middle of the first book, when we finally get inside her head and start to have things told through her perspective. That's going to happen a lot sooner in book 2, and I'd really like to focus on her a lot more, especially with how others relate to her, and her relationship with Zoe is going to be a focus, because what happens if you get these two people in a room together and they start a conversation? You know, what's going to be the first thing that's said? Oh, your fake mother killed our real mother? Or you've been having sex with this man that I love? Maybe she loves him. I don't know. I think that's going to be really fascinating, and I look forward to writing those scenes in those chapters. And I think to make her either good or bad is a disservice to her. And I kind of hope that she turns everything upside down and everything on its head, and is not only the antithesis to Zoe, but also like challenges her in some ways and presents her with, you know, this scenario of maybe Zoe is not the good person we thought her to be. That's kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit and ahead of the writing. So, yeah. Gosh, I wish I'd prepared this more, had someone to talk to about it. I feel like I'm just blabbering on about my own character. I might as well be talking about myself, right? But, fascinating character. I look forward to her interactions, as I hope you are too. So, next time in episode 3 of ZoeCast, pick a new character to talk about. So our options are Zoe Thanatos, Evander Nero, Evadine Nero and Owen Straton, Kyra Straton, and Thea Thanatos and the Queen Mother. So 4 different options. No, is it 4? 1, 2, 3. Yes, 4 different options. I'll put up a new poll online on ZoeThanatosNovel.com. By the way, if you've never been there before, you know, it's building up. It's really something I'm trying to increase and make a community out of. And I have started work on Zoepedia, which is my encyclopedic reference source for Zoe that has been taking time to build up, and I'm not able to do it until, you know, fully and until I'm out of school, but it will get there, trust me. So if you haven't been to the site, it's ZoeThanatosNovel.com. You can register to be a member and take part in the forums, where I will be posting today's episode and, you know, hopefully engaging you in a discussion about what you've heard today. Feel free to ask any questions or make observations or talk about what you liked or didn't like about the character or the story. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Zoe Thanatos Novel. I try and update it as regularly as I can, and engage in conversation with you on there to varying degrees of success. And I, have some concept artwork on there that I make as I go along, and I try to keep it updated, probably more so than the website. If you haven't liked that, please go check it out, give it a like, and say hi, and, tell me something about yourself. I'd love to hear when people read my book. It makes me happier than almost anything else in the world. Sorry for the coughing. I hope that hasn't been too jarring. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of ZoeCast. I hope to talk to you all soon. Hopefully I'm a bit more organized and thought-provoking in my words. I'm a little, under the weather, like I said. So if I sounded crazy or stupid, please don't hold it against me. Hold it against the kind people at LAX who gave me this this damned illness, fever, bronchitis thing that I have. Check out ZoeThanatosNovel.com and Facebook, and please encourage your friends to get Zoe on Amazon, either in paperback or ebook format, and let me know how you like it. Thanks for listening. Bye.